In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro delves into the evolving political landscape surrounding the Ukraine conflict, the implications of Donald Trump's potential presidency, and the confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard as the new director of national intelligence. The discussion highlights the complexities of the Ukraine-Russia war, the Biden administration's strategies, and the broader implications for U.S. foreign policy. Shapiro begins by analyzing the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, emphasizing that Russia's initial goal of capturing Kyiv failed early in the conflict. Instead, the war has transformed into a struggle for Ukraine to reclaim territories lost to Russia since 2014, particularly in the Donbas region and Crimea. Shapiro argues that the Biden administration's strategy has been inconsistent, lacking a clear definition of victory. He posits that without a realistic assessment of the battlefield, the conflict has settled into a stalemate, with neither side able to achieve a decisive victory. Trump's recent statements indicate a shift in approach, as he has expressed a desire to negotiate directly with Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the war. Shapiro notes that Trump believes the war could have been avoided had he been in office, and he is now advocating for peace talks that would involve Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. Trump's proposal includes a potential meeting with Putin and discussions about the future of Ukraine, suggesting that he aims to secure a deal that would prevent further loss of life. Shapiro critiques the Biden administration for its contradictory stance on Ukraine. While it has pledged ongoing support to Ukraine, it has not provided the necessary military aid to achieve a full-scale victory. Shapiro argues that the administration's refusal to define victory has led to a prolonged conflict, resulting in unnecessary suffering. He suggests that a more pragmatic approach would involve recognizing the realities on the ground and seeking a negotiated settlement that acknowledges Russia's control over certain territories. The podcast also touches on the historical context of the conflict, referencing Henry Kissinger's earlier calls for an off-ramp to the war. Shapiro believes that a peace agreement could resemble the armistice established after the Korean War, where both sides maintain their positions without a formal peace treaty. He emphasizes that the current situation requires a realistic assessment of what can be achieved rather than pursuing unattainable goals. The conversation shifts to the recent confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence. Shapiro highlights Gabbard's unique position as a former congresswoman and combat veteran, suggesting that her appointment could bring a fresh perspective to the intelligence community. He notes that Gabbard's confirmation reflects Trump's broader strategy of appointing individuals who align with his vision for government reform. Shapiro discusses the implications of Gabbard's confirmation for U.S. intelligence operations, particularly in light of the ongoing challenges posed by foreign adversaries. He expresses optimism about her ability to oversee necessary reforms within the intelligence community, emphasizing the importance of accountability and transparency in government operations. As the podcast progresses, Shapiro examines the broader political landscape, particularly the challenges facing the Biden administration. He argues that the current administration's handling of the Ukraine conflict and its domestic policies have left it vulnerable to criticism. Shapiro believes that Trump's approach, characterized by a willingness to engage in direct negotiations and a focus on practical solutions, resonates with many Americans who are frustrated with the status quo. Shapiro also addresses the ongoing efforts by the Trump administration to cut waste, fraud, and abuse within the federal government. He highlights the importance of accountability in government spending, particularly in light of recent revelations about mismanagement and inefficiency. Shapiro argues that Trump's focus on reducing government waste aligns with public sentiment, as many Americans are dissatisfied with the current state of government operations. The podcast concludes with a discussion of the left's response to Trump's initiatives and the potential implications for the future. Shapiro notes that Democrats are struggling to find a cohesive strategy to counter Trump's popularity and the growing support for his policies. He highlights the absurdity of some Democratic responses, including attempts to label Trump and Musk as part of an oligarchy, while they advocate for cuts to government spending. Shapiro emphasizes that the political landscape is shifting, and Trump's leadership style, characterized by direct engagement and a focus on results, may resonate with voters seeking change. He suggests that the ongoing developments in Ukraine, coupled with Gabbard's confirmation, could signal a new era in U.S. foreign policy and governance.